Hello, everybody. Welcome. So this is a requested sort of webinar video just to help people get into YouTube, hairdressers in particular. But if you are someone who's thinking about getting into YouTube, then this is the place where I'm going to be showing you where to basically start if you are a beginner. So the reason this course come about is that obviously I've been working on YouTube now for 4 years. I've made a lot of mistakes and I don't want you guys to make the same. So I want to be able to sort of like guide you around them, and this little webinar session is just going to show you some of the things that I did at the beginning and some of the things that I'm doing now and some of the tools that I'm using now to be able to fast track it basically. So make sure you've got a pen and paper. If you haven't, get on your phone's notes and maybe go on there, or just go and grab a pen and paper now so you can make some notes. So we're just going to get straight into it. You obviously know who I am, hopefully, Paul Watts. And yeah, we're going to be starting this right now. So this is basically how to start on YouTube as if you were a hairdresser. But if you aren't a hairdresser and you're watching this, then you can be able to take some tips away, because it's a lot of stuff that I've learned over the years. So this is the Hairdresser's Starter Pack and the Not So Secret Secret. And the reason I like to say about the Not So Secret Secret is because there's just a very obvious it's at the end. There's a very obvious thing when it comes to YouTube that not a lot of people talk about, and we're just going to get straight into it. So the first thing that I want you guys to really understand is just to define your niche. And when it comes to a niche, as whatever industry you are, you've got to think about something you're passionate about. Maybe not think about something that is a little bit off the cuff. It's something that's a little bit sort of out there, a little bit wild, because if you are trying to pull inspiration and you are trying to constantly work at something to make it a niche, you're not going to be able to do it for that long, because you'll burn out and you'll start to have to really work on retaining a lot of information on something that you're not really interested in. And there's one thing that I always talk about in particular, and I remember it from like as a kid, and it's the Simpsons episode where Homer lost his job and Marge had to work. And with Marge, what she did was you let me know in the comments if you've obviously seen The Simpsons, or no, actually, who hasn't seen The Simpsons. I'd love to know that, because I'm pretty sure everybody's seen an episode of The Simpsons at some point. So in the corner of the Simpsons home, there's a piano, and Marge Simpson starts to teach people the piano. And the way that, let's just see if somebody who's commenting. Good afternoon, Felix. Hope you are well. Yeah, so she starts with the piano. So she starts to teach piano lessons. And the way that she teaches it is that she gets students coming through. She advertises like you would advertise with this, as you're like a in your industry, you are a expert in your field, and you want people to come onto your channel to trust you and to take information and sort of like create a community and grow together. So when it came to Marge, what she did was she learnt a first lesson. So she was actually having a piano teaching lesson, and then whatever she learned as her first lesson, she would teach. And then she'd go on to another lesson. She would go and learn it. She'd come back and then she would teach that. So her first week would then be her student's first week. Her second week would be her student's second week. And that always sort of like stuck with me. I don't really know why, but I think it was to do with, to make sure that when you were starting to teach something, that you fully understand it, or you are just staying ahead of the game to what other people are doing. And that was a big thing for me. So yeah, that sort of Simpsons episode when I was little blew my mind, but it's something that I've remembered to this day. So when it comes to a niche, you can see here, if you're a hairdresser, you could specialize in brides, men's grooming, cut or color specialist, cutting specialist, precision cutting. The list is endless. You could be a formulation expert. You could be absolutely anything. But then finding your unique selling point, your USP, what sets you apart. And I'll just tell you a little bit about what I found with myself. So when I first started YouTube, it was in lockdown. And with the whole lockdown thing, obviously, we didn't know how long it was going to last for. I didn't know how long I was going to be out of a job. But I just thought, if this ever happens again, what could I do that I could continue to do that didn't need me to be there? And I just looked in, like, the corner of my room, and there was a camera, and I was like, "Well, YouTube, I could, Stephanie Barrett, curly expert, we need more of them. We do need more of them." And this is something great that if you are in the comment section on people's videos, these are things that really help you as a creator. So when you are commenting saying, "Oh, I love this haircut," but if you say those things like, "I want to see more curly cuts, I want to see more long grads, I want to see more pixies, I want to see more bobs," it gives the creator so much more um, so much more ideas, but also like ammunition as to what their audience are wanting. Because we'll go into it. Your audience, when you go into the back room and analytics of your YouTube studio, that's where you'll find who your people are and who you are engaging with and starting to create a rapport and who are starting to become your fans. So that's that. But to what sets you apart, that's where when I started, I just started vlogging because I had no idea what to do. I just thought, "I'll grab a camera and I'll start to vlog lockdown." I lasted 3 days before I got bored of it and didn't really know what to talk about because I was stuck at home. We couldn't go out, except for an hour, and I just thought, "I do want to do this, but I don't really know what to do." And I had a bit of imposter syndrome where that I can I can imagine a lot of you feel when you start to do something new, especially YouTube, is why would anybody wanna listen to me? Do I actually know what I'm talking about? And do is what I'm doing good enough to put out there into, like, to be criticised, basically? And that's one of the biggest things when it comes to people feeling that, "Oh, I don't wanna be criticised," or, um, "Am I doing something that's really, really lame, or am I doing something that's really foundational?" But that is where so many people get it wrong. So when it comes to, like, USPs and what sets you apart, is that there's not many people that really go back to basics. The whole Marge Simpson thing, like episode 1, lesson 1. That's the big thing. So when I started, I was starting to do little bits of haircuts, little bits of like, "Oh, look at this product here," and stuff like that. And it wasn't until we were finishing in the salon on a Saturday and we were all leaving the salon, and I was like, "Oh, I haven't filmed a video." So I ran downstairs to the studio. I didn't have much time. I was really tired, grabbed a mannequin, put it into 2 ponytails. But before that, I jumped on my phone and Googled what haircut is trending right now. And this thing, wolf cut, came up. And I was like, "What the hell is a wolf cut?" Never heard of it. As a hairdresser, never heard of it. And then I went, clicked it, took me to this website, and it was like trends. And I was like, "What?" And I clicked on the first picture of it, and "Hey Lee," and it was it took me to TikTok. And I was like, "What the hell is this? Like, what the hell is a wolf cut?" And I started seeing people doing it themselves, but with one ponytail here, a unicorn cut. And this guy, Brad Mondo, first time sort of like hearing him, seeing him, he was sort of talking about it, and I was like, "So if you're wanting to create more of like a shag, which is what wolf cuts fundamentally are, you're not really gonna get that shape from one ponytail because all you're gonna create with that is forward graduation, long graduation, and really nothing at the back because of the over direction." So I was thinking, so basically we could just split it half and half. We could use that sort of unicorn ponytail to create some shape around the face, because if you were to do something in the salon section by section, you'd be sectioning, you'd be taking forward, you'd be cutting it off at whatever angle you prefer or that works for the client. And at the back would either connect or disconnect. And that's where I thought I'm gonna put the ponytail on top, and I'm gonna elevate so much, so high that no matter how blunt I cut it, because we've elevated so high, it creates so much softness. And that's when it comes to when you are understanding how to do something. And there is, oh, I meant to get this name and write it down, but I keep calling it the Ryman law. It's not Ryman, it's something that rhymes with Ryman, but it's basically the understanding of something that you can reverse engineer. And this is what sets you apart from other people doing this right now. So if you can reverse engineer what you do to the simplest of things, the simplest form, that is how you're going to grow on YouTube, because so many people now are trying to show what they've got, what they can do, how good they are, no one is really showing people who want to come into the industry or want to get into your industry if you're not a hairdresser, like, how do you get that job? How do you sort of progress from assistant to a stylist? How would you go from, say, in like a firm just to a new recruit to working up that ladder? How do you do that? And that is something that I think is mega, mega special right now. And that's why I sort of trying to get our salon assistant to do it, because by the time he qualifies,